Hello everyone and welcome to the Good Old Gamer. So today we got a fun one. This is a video that Met Prism, a member over on the Discord, he actually challenged me when I said something on the Techonomics podcast a few weeks ago, which by the way, if you're not subscribed over there, please go ahead and do so. Links are down below. Paul from Not an Apple Fan and I talk twice a week about all the cool tech stuff. We have guests on. It's a lot of fun and we love chatting with you guys over there. But I said the old school Core i7 2600K can still play the games. And he said, can they? He challenged me, can it run Spider-Man with ray tracing? And I was like, okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this. I didn't know for sure, so let's test it out. And instead, I expanded the testing to every single game that I've purchased in 2022. Can the old 2011 i7 2600K still hold up? Well, let's go ahead and find out together. Alrighty guys, so for today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the old i7 2600K. This is on the Maximus 4 Gen Z Z68 motherboard, so this is a very nice motherboard. I like the Gens because I like the M-ATX form factor, so I really love this motherboard. We will be pairing this, of course, with the G-Skill Ripjaws X DDR3 2133 CL9. This is basically the best kit of DDR3 that I could find out there. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and see how powerful this is when pushed to its limits in modern games. All right, so I wanted to kick things off with Elden Ring. This is one of 2022's biggest and most popular games, and honestly, I figured this would be a very good stress test for this CPU. And as you can see here, we're running at 4.8 gigahertz on the 12600K, which most of them can do at a reasonable voltage, and we have the memory running 32 gigabytes of 2133 C9. So this is a very strong 2600K setup, but still, as you can see here, we're running Elden Ring just fine, even up to high refresh rates. Now, this next game should be no surprise. We're running the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Shredder's Revenge. This is a two-dimensional side-scrolling beat-em-up game, and honestly, one of the most fun games that I got here in 2022, and this is locked at 60 FPS. Obviously, this is going to work no problem, so yep, here's another game that runs on the 2600K just fine. Next up is another new game. This is called Metal Hellsinger, and this is a kind of like a Doom type of a game where you're going around basically just slaughtering demons. And as you guys can see here, we're definitely well above 60 FPS and even approaching high refresh gaming. So yeah, it's pretty clear that yes, the 12600K can run this game just fine. Next up is Stray, another very interesting game that has come out here recently. You get to run around as a kitty cat, which, hey, you know, that's kind of fun. I haven't played much of this one yet. The only time that I played it was for this footage, and I was just like, man, this is going to be an interesting game when I have time to finish it. But yeah, as you guys can see here, we're over 100 FPS, so clearly this is not going to be a problem. All right, so earlier this year, God of War came over to PC, so I figured let's try this out. So as you can see here, God of War, we're running well over 100 FPS during the cutscenes, and between 90 and 100 FPS during the traversal open world type stuff. So obviously early in the game, there's no battles, so I wasn't able to get to that part, but still, we're well over 60 FPS, so yes, this game is gonna run just fine. Next up, I tested Weird West, which is an isometric RPG Western style game. This is a very interesting game. I haven't had enough time with it yet, but I really enjoy the Western-y type of games that Digital Devolver goes ahead and puts out. So I'm very interested to go ahead and check this full game out. But as you can see here, the 2600K is delivering us over 120 FPS. Obviously, this is a title that's not going to be super demanding, but yes, you can get high refresh rate gaming in this new modern title on the 2600K. Next up is Shadow Warrior 3, and as you guys can see here, this is a very well optimized game. We're getting well over 100 FPS. We're around 150, 160, 180. So yeah, for a fast-paced first-person shooter that just came out this year, 2600K is still doing very well. All right, so next up, I tried Serious Sam 4. This is Siberian Mayhem, and I didn't play Serious Sam 4. I like all of the rest of the Serious Sam games, but this one got really good reviews, so I'm looking forward to checking this out more. Now, this is obviously a heavier game. This is using UE4, which we know is a pretty heavy engine for a lot of stuff, so we're getting 70, 80, up to about 100 FPS here, and that's pretty good. Obviously, Serious Sam has large battles, so we might see a few dips below, but I would say that this is running perfectly fine, and if you have a VRR display, you're not going to notice it. So 60 FPS plus here, definitely going to happen. So next up is Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed, and this is the only game that cannot stay above 60 FPS. What's kind of interesting, I'll do a time lapse here, but you can see that the RAM utilization goes up dramatically. I think that this is an issue with the actual game, as it's just acting really, really funky. But if you had a VRR display, it's still going to run fairly well. But at the same time, this is the only game that I could not get running at 60 FPS plus consistently. All right, and then finally we have Spider-Man. This is Marvel Spider-Man with ray tracing enabled, high settings, high ray tracing, all that stuff. And as you can see, we are not hitting a locked 60 FPS. So that was what he was asking. Can you do Spider-Man with ray tracing at 60 FPS plus? Well, I said that the 2600K can run all modern games just fine, not at your desired settings. So let's take a look at what happens when we go ahead and lower the settings by turning off ray tracing. And there we go. The game runs just fine. Well over 60 FPS. We're in the 70s. We're in the 80s. It's running just fine. So yes, you can definitely run Marvel Spider-Man here today, no problem, on a 2600K, as long as you disable the ray tracing, which if you're using a 2011 CPU, I think that that's a compromise that's well worth it. So there you go, guys. Out of all of the games that I got here in 2022, only one game is having issues, and I personally think that that's something that could be patched out. There's really nothing in the game that's more demanding than, well, in some of the other games that we tested. So I think it's just because that's a newer game that just launched, and it's not like a big AAA game. But even still, most big AAA games take a little while to patch up as well. So from a smaller studio, I'd give them a little bit of time, and then I would probably assume that that's going to run just fine. However, all of the other games run perfectly fine. No problems, no issues, they just work. With Spider-Man, like I said, just turn off the ray tracing and your 2011 CPU is still doing just fine. So the whole point of this video is to show you guys how little the software is progressing and how much performance you can get out of even very old hardware. So when a lot of people are freaking out about buying new CPUs, new platforms, do you really need it is the real question. If you have something faster than a 2600K and 60 FPS is okay with you, well, no, you really don't need to upgrade. If you want a higher refresh experience in all of your games, 120 FPS plus, yes, you're definitely going to need something a little bit faster. In reality, something like a Ryzen 5600 or even something like an i3-12100 will be able to deliver that for you. If you want to go even further, like 240 FPS plus for competitive gaming, yes, you're going to need the fastest, but that really depends on you and what type of games you play, what frame rate experience you want. If 60 FPS plus is really what you want for your big AAA games, well, this CPU can do it. Now, I'm not recommending everybody go out there and buy an i3 or an i7 2600K. That doesn't make sense. It's mostly to demonstrate if you have something at this level or better, you're gonna just be fine. You don't really need to worry about it. So yeah, just look at your current situation, look at your frame rate targets, look at your display. How fast does it go? Do you have a 144 hertz display? Would you rather be running at that frame rate versus something like 60? Or is the 60 just fine for you in the more demanding titles? Only you can decide that, but in reality, CPU, memory, these things just aren't that important. As you guys can see here, we're using DDR3, and this is dual channel DDR3, and it's still doing just fine. Granted, it's fast DDR3, but it's not even the fastest. I think I could probably get Spider-Man to work if I could get the RAM up to 2400 with really tight timings, but then we're just cherry picking at that point. 2133 kits are relatively inexpensive, so if you have an old DDR3 platform laying around and you want to get it a little bit of an extra bump, you might want to go ahead and get it some faster RAM, and it's still going to be very good. That system can be used as a secondary system, backup system, living room system, or something that you give away to a family member, and they're going to be very, very happy with that. Personally, I'm going to give the i7-2600K to my brother as a Christmas present, and he's going to be just fine with that. He mostly wants to play indie games like Weird West, and all of the games most of the games that I showed you guys here, they run just fine, and even high refresh rate. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun checking this out. It really puts things in perspective of how powerful CPUs are and how little our software really demands. Now, if you're big into modding or, like I said, competitive gaming, there are different use cases. But if you play similar type games to myself, which I just showed you my 2022 library, well, you don't really need to worry about it a whole lot. Now, with that being said, in the near future, I am going to be doing memory scaling videos. We're going to be taking a look at dual rank B die versus single rank B die versus 2 single rank B die kits. And then I'm also going to be comparing it to a more normal 3600 C16 memory kit, non-B die. And we're going to be taking a look and seeing, do you really need the best to get the best experience? Now, that's something, once again, it's going to be subjective, but we're going to have all the data and you can see what the differences are. Is it worth the extra expense to you? So if you guys are in the market, you're looking to buy something new, hopefully that'll help point you in the right direction. Would you rather save some money or would you rather have extra performance? How much extra performance is there? And yeah, I'm really excited to be bringing that to you guys. If you are interested in that type of content, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. You can also become a member by clicking the join button down below. That goes ahead and gets you access to my Discord where you can chat with myself, and you can get access to Paul from Not an Apple Fans Discord as well. You get into the tech bunker, as we like to call it, and I love chatting with you guys about all of this stuff. So, alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me here today. Hope you found this useful. Smash that like button, subscribe, share with friends, all the YouTube stuff. Really appreciate that, and I will catch you guys in the next video.